Hi, my beautiful friend. Thank you so much for joining me back in our day 2 of the 5-day challenge. Today we're going to get into 2 principles that are called micro actions and your invisible team. Now, your invisible team is the spiritual style that you might have, and the way that you can connect with your team is to imagine that you have angels all around you, or you turn to nature, or you have God, or Jesus, or Buddha. But it's more than one person. What I really encourage you to do is to remember and build the connection and the relationship you have with a team. And we do have an invisible team, and it's there for you. It's actually specifically there just for you. You came into this world with a team, and it's like a radio station. And if you can tune into that frequency, it's always there. It's really, if you're not really tuning into it, it gets really hard to hear inspiration and to tap into your intuition. But as a woman, and as somebody that is trying to follow her heart, this is the absolute best way I can suggest to you to get the answers, to really get direct guidance or indirect guidance or hits, I like to call them. Maybe you're driving down the street and let's just say you've asked your invisible team for some guidance and you see a billboard and it just feels like, just kind of hits you in a way that it hits that little place like, that's so funny. I was just thinking that. That's so weird. Or it just resonates. There's something about when the information comes to us that it hits us somehow. So I like to call these our little hits, and they are our inspiration. And what happens, the only way we can ever go wrong with acknowledging these hits of inspiration is by dismissing them or thinking that they don't matter. They actually matter a lot. They are the small, still voice that we have inside of us. We get messages, and we have people that might be telling us something that we were just thinking of, and it's exactly what we need to hear. And we might bump into somebody that might be the absolute best person to help you with something, or you were just thinking of them and they call you. It happens to us all the time, and what I'm suggesting is that you actually use it a lot more than you may have been already. You begin to build your strategies and your efforts off of these inspirations. This is the way that I have found to tap into an extraordinary potential that's truly created miracles and events and ideas that I've gotten and attracted me with people that are beyond my wildest dreams. Like, my expectations only go so far, but what our invisible team can do for us is so much more. So to begin with, we have our invisible team. And each day it's really great just to go to them. But what I'd love for you to do right now for our day 2 challenge is ask your invisible team, how can I create this one goal? And before you do anything else, just sit with it, take a few deep breaths, and then begin to brainstorm. Just write down anything and everything that comes to mind, and it might seem totally ridiculous or unrelated, or you might think of somebody that it's just, did that come from me, or is that guidance, or what? Stop the questions, just write it down. This is called co-creating and brainstorming with your invisible team, and there's no right or wrong. I'm not saying you have to do all of these things. We'll get to that. But you're really just going to write down everything you feel inspired by as you intentionally ask and sit with a pen and paper. I want to back up just for a second. If you have any difficulty with asking your invisible team and not knowing exactly what it is, I will tell you 2 things. You don't need to know what it is. You just need to have a little belief that it's there. You don't need to know exactly what it is. And then the second thing I can offer you is try things on. It could be a tree outside. It could be a spiritual practice or religion that you're already a part of. It could be angels. It could be people that you love that have passed on. It could be saints. And there is so many spiritual concepts that you might be drawn to, and you may already be following them. So just define it for yourself exactly what feels good to you. It is definitely not what somebody else told you to believe. So this might require you to take a few moments or a whole day before you actually start the asking and writing. And if you need to do that, do it for a day. Don't spend too much time with it, because at the very least, it will come to you. You will figure that part of it out. But the most important thing I want you to stay on track with in this challenge is to stay in action. And the action today is to ask your invisible team, how can you create more of this goal in your life? So yesterday we became aware of one goal that was important to us. It was meaningful. We aren't happy in some area of our life, and we chose one goal, and we envisioned what the success of that is. And we are aligning our feeling state with that success feeling of achieving that particular goal. And now today we're going to get into micro actions. And some of the very best micro actions are from responses we get from our invisible team, hits of inspiration. So after you've brainstormed, you've written down this entire list of whatever comes to mind, pick 3. You could pick 1 to 3. That's totally fine. If you do just one inspired micro action a day, that's all you ever have to do. It's very easy. And by having an inspired micro action, it's infused with intention. That one small action is so much greater than 100 other non-inspired actions that are just keeping us busy and distracted and ultimately in the BS. The BS, my friend, is before success, if you are wondering. And I really want to hear about what your micro action is. If you have any questions or beliefs that work for you, I'd love to hear about your invisible team. Please let me know. You can email me directly at Becca@beccastarr.com. Let me know how you're doing with the challenge, and I'll see you tomorrow.